So we get frustrated when people don't understand what we do. We get irritated when we have a student athlete or a parent or a coach who doesn't follow our instructions that we give them because we have their best interests in heart, short-term and long-term, but yet they think they know what's best. So we get frustrated because they don't listen. At a bigger level. Did I have the right mindset? Was I putting off the right vibe in terms of my presence? And did I communicate well? And today we're going to talk about these three areas and how we as athletic trainers can own our space. And when I say own our space, is what can we do to be more effective so that we can over time influence others to be able to make as big of an impact as we can with the resources that we need. So when it comes to mindset, presence, and communication, the focus of today, number one, is talking about a growth mindset. Do we have a growth mindset, and are we taking steps to get better? It starts personally with choices you make. We're going to talk about your presence, and I'm not going to talk about presence as in mindfulness, as like being in the moment right now, which is a pretty awesome moment, but mindfulness is great. We're going to talk about presence in the scope of what do people know of you when they see you? What is your brand? When you have an athletic trainer in school, and you come into a room, you come out onto the field, what do people expect of you because of your habits and because of what you put out there? And then lastly, talking about the nonverbal and the verbal aspects of communication. How are we more effective as a communicator? It starts with listening better. And how are we communicating to enhance our relationship, not only with our student athletes, but the administrators, the coaches, the parents, the executives, because those are the ones who are going to help us. Focus your energy on what you know here and now, and you focus your energy on the fact that I can make different choices starting right now that ultimately can change the direction of where I want to go professionally and help me make a bigger impact. You're going to focus your energy moving forward. You're going to be way more effective with your energy versus just ranting and venting and being frustrated with what's happened in the past. So focus your energy forward. And to do that, you have to have a growth mindset. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset, the easiest way to put it is if I am connecting with, let's say, the people in this room. There are people in this room who are still in school, finishing their master's degree, and there's people in this room who have been in the game for 30 years, 40 years. Are you, as a young professional, leveraging those resources you have around you to pick their brain, to learn from them, to utilize your mentors, to learn from their mistakes and their failures and their successes? And are you open to what they have to give you feedback? Or are you getting defensive when they challenge you on something and get defensive and don't take what they say because, oh no, I know this. I was there, that's how I was as a young professional. I thought I knew it all, and I wasn't open to what I needed to be. On the other end of the spectrum, those of us who are in the game 15 years or more, there's a lot of great ideas coming up from some of our younger professionals too. Are we open to hearing their thoughts and ideas on things? Doesn't mean we need to change what we do and change our philosophy completely, but we can do little tweaks to get better based on new trends, new researches, new ideas. So are we open as well to the new ideas of the younger generation? As a profession, are we growing and learning from strength and conditioning professionals and with our rehab? Are we learning from physical therapists when it comes to manual therapy and clinicians? Are we collaborating with them versus putting up walls and saying, this is my territory? Those are the choices of coach or administrator if you have an issue versus venting on Facebook or venting to your colleagues about a problem, but then you don't take the step to go address it yourself. You have to take that first step first. Last part we're going to talk about today is when it comes to communication, listening is the key. We all know how to talk, but are we understanding what other people are trying to tell us? And there's 4 parts of active listening I want to talk about today. Skill sets that I've learned, that I've had to work hard on because I used to really suck at communicating. I was a bad listener, and I was one of those prime situations where, we listen with the intent to reply. We're just waiting for that opening where we're like, I know what I want to say, and waiting for them to stop talking and take a breath so I can get it in there. And that doesn't work. We have to pay attention to what they're saying through our posture, through our eye contact. Stay involved in the conversation so that we can allow them to say what they want and need to say to us. We need to minimize distractions the best possible way we can. And we need to be all about you. If I'm having a conversation with Joe, it's all about Joe for that moment in time. unless there's an emergency that pops up and I gotta run. It's all about Joe for that minute of time. And if you take 1 minute to listen to someone who may be a problem student athlete, 1 minute, you're going to maybe have a better impact on them, being less of a challenge for you, than if you brush them off and say, oh, they're just venting about something. They don't have what they have going on is not a big deal. Listen to them for a minute. Understand them. Pay attention to what they're saying. Stay involved. If you don't understand what they're saying completely, ask clarifying questions to understand it at a deeper level. And a lot of times when we ask why questions, why do you feel that way? Why did that happen? Why did you go back to play? I told you not to do that. It is really hard to answer why questions because we don't always know the answer to why. So what we need to do is we need to ask what, when, where, how, and who questions. Those are more easily digested, and you have more of a likelihood of getting the information you need to make the clinical decision or the situational decision to move forward in that case. But if you ask whys, you expect a middle school kid to give you a why about why they went back to play, because they're middle school kids, they don't know better, But if you ask them about, what led you to going back? Oh, I wanted to play. Or, who told you could go back? Oh, my mom told me I could go back in. Then you understand what the root is so you can address it. Little things like nodding your head, doing little things that just encourage them to keep talking when you're trying to get to the root of what they need to tell you. This is more important when you're talking with colleagues or with administrators, because then you really want to understand why they're telling you no about something, why you're not getting what you want. You have to understand it to the deepest level so that you can reframe your request in the realm of what they maybe can then support. Next comes paraphrasing and reflecting. They're very similar. Paraphrasing is basically, if I'm having a conversation with you and you're telling me something, occasionally I'm saying back to you, either in your own words or my own words, what I think you're trying to tell me. And then, so I hear you're saying this, am I understanding this correctly, that you want to do this, and I told you that, so you disagree with that. Okay, good, now I understand what it is that makes you upset. So paraphrasing is the first part of that, summarizing in their own words and in your words. The next part of it is reflecting, and that's where emotion comes into it. Because now, not only are you paraphrasing back to them, but you're also bringing the emotional aspect of, what's the underlying reason here? Why, as a parent, are you so amped up about the fact that I held your 9th grade son out of the soccer game? I understand you're frustrated, is that correct? Asking clarifying questions that reflect back feelings in addition to their words so that you can understand what's the motivating factor that why they're so upset, so that you can then better frame your conversation back to them to answer their problems. Or in some cases, understanding is not always agreeing. You might not be on the same page. You might not always agree, but you can acknowledge and appreciate without agreeing. And that's the key here. So paraphrasing is the words, reflecting is